Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar hosted by Eurocities together with Europa Nostra on behalf of the Cultural Heritage in Action project. If all attendees could mute their microphone and turn down their cameras, that would be nice. Thank you. Yes, thanks a lot. My name is Cécile Huppert, and I am project coordinator at Eurocities, and I'm managing in particular the Cultural Heritage in Action peer learning program. And today I will moderate this webinar. For your information, the webinar is being recorded at the moment, and the video will be posted on the e-learning platform of the Cultural Heritage in Action website in the next couple of days. Just a reminder, if indeed all attendees could mute their microphone and camera. If you have a question, you can post it directly in the chat. My colleague Lorena from Europa Nostra is our chat moderator today. And we'll also have 2 Q&A sessions where you will be able to ask the questions to the speakers, where you can also raise your hand and we can give you the floor at this moment. Before we start, just a bit about us and why we are organizing this webinar today. So Eurocities is the network of major European cities founded in 1986 and based in Brussels. We represent more than 200 cities all over Europe. And Europa Nostra, our partner today, is a pan-European federation of more than 300 civil society organizations committed to the protection of Europe's cultural and natural heritage, active for more than 50 years in over 40 countries. And together with ERIN, the Network of Region, the Architects Council of Europe, and KEA European Affairs, we are partners in Cultural Heritage in Action, which is a project funded by the Creative Europe program of the EU. Cultural Heritage in Action is a peer learning scheme on cultural heritage to support exchanges between cities, regions, and stakeholders on topics linked to cultural heritage, and in particular, recovery and resilience through cultural heritage in a post-pandemic world, cultural heritage for local sustainable development, or governance, financing, and the new roles played by local and regional authorities. We put together this program of webinars to share stories on a range of topics relevant to cities, to regions, and cultural heritage stakeholders. For instance, cultural heritage policy, participation, adaptive reuse, climate resilience, and social inclusion. Each episode of this webinar series will present inspirational examples from European cities and regions linked to these topics. And today is the first episode of a series of 5, and we are focusing on learning through, with, and about cultural heritage, education, training, and literacy in European regions and cities. May I ask again the attendees to please turn down their camera and microphones. Thank you. So, as I said, this webinar will explore the interrelations between cultural heritage and education. We will hear different examples of programs and specific projects from 3 cities linking up cultural heritage, literacy, and education policies. We will discuss in particular the role that schools can play in allowing cultural education to take place, in particular via motivated teachers, but also with the help of local authorities who can facilitate this interaction between educational and cultural institutions. So the focus is really on how this interaction can help pupils and students grow and learn in the process. Schools are indeed more than just a building or a place where young people passively receive an education. They are open, cultural spaces where pupils and students can be actors of their education or learn in a different way, thanks to culture and cultural heritage products, services, and activities. And when it comes to cultural heritage, it is definitely a win-win situation, because using local stories, local cultural heritage, local traditions can help students acquire or improve global skills and key competencies such as literacy, cultural awareness, cultural expression, etc., and raising awareness of local cultural heritage, as well as promoting preservation and conservation techniques of heritage buildings or landscapes or traditions. It's a way to keep European heritage alive for future generations as well. So guiding questions for today are how can local cultural heritage promote new learning environments in education and help strengthen key competencies for young people? Or how can cities and regions support learning through, with, and about cultural heritage? So before we dive into our case studies, I would like to give the floor to colleagues from the European Commission working in the Director General Education and Culture, and more precisely in the Youth Unit, as they wanted to take this opportunity to present two important European initiatives that are so closely linked to today's topic. The first one is the European Year of Youth, launched at the beginning of the year 2022, and focusing on empowering young people through a number of initiatives. And the second one is the European Solidarity Corps and its recent take-up of cultural heritage. So I have here with me Karin Feringer and Gozia Kozlowska, who are both program managers for youth policy and programs at the European Commission in the Directorate General for Education, Youth, Sport and Culture. So ladies, floor yours. I think we start with the European Year of Youth.
Okay, so I take the floor here. Thank you very much for this very nice introduction. I hope you can all see the slides as they are here on the screen. In these days, it's not easy to talk about youth policy as such, but knowing that European youth is the future of even during, after, and past whatever happens in the next few days, I think we can still focus on the main and core values that represent the European Year of Youth, and these are closely linked to democracy, to freedom, to European values, and I would say this fits perfectly well. Next slide, please. Or can I move the slides? Yep. So when Ursula von der Leyen in 2022 in her State of Union speech, when she launched the European Year of Youth, or when she indicated this, we talked still about the corona pandemic and everything that the young generation had missed during this period. And build on this, we started to work on this European Year of Youth, where we want to reach out basically to all young people in all their different areas and listen to them and make their voices heard so that they can shape the future of Europe, whatever happens and coming next. There was one remark that people couldn't see the slides. Can this be checked from?
Do you see them?
I see it, but there was a chat message. I saw it in the conversation that someone could not read or see the slides. Is it okay for everyone? Now I see them. Okay, fine.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Next slide, please. So this Year of Youth has a number of objectives. Four are particularly important, and they are also stated in the decision of the Commission. And this is this renewing of the positive perspective for young people in their actions, in their visions, and in their insights. And I will tell you later how we respond to these different objectives and what we plan to do. The second one is not less important, is to support young people, especially those with the fewer opportunities, and fewer opportunities could be living in different circumstances, being physically not a bit disadvantaged, whoever it is, but we want them to become active and engaged citizens, as every young person can be an actor of change and can take it up for the future. And then certainly we want to promote opportunities for young people with a look and with a thinking of a green and digitally inclusive world. This is more important than ever. And then the last one, and this is, I guess, why we are all here together also, is that the youth perspective, youth policies, they should be relevant no matter which area and where we stand. And this is what we're trying now to implement. Next slide, please. Across the different policy areas. And we will focus on these 8 that are listed here in particular. They are all important. And as you can see, culture, and I would say here cultural heritage, under the point number 6 are really an important part of this. Next slide, please. How are we, or who is kind of involved? And here you can see that there are 3 different layers. The one layer is kind of the institutions, the European institutions, and this is not only the Commission, but together with the Parliament and the different committees. Oops. Yeah. Then we work a lot with youth stakeholders. They are youth organizations active in the different countries, in the different areas. And last but definitely not least, the young people themselves, who are sort of in the core of all the activities. And we have defined measures how we can directly reach out to them. These are, inter alia, for example, an involvement through social media. And we also are working on participatory tools where we want to listen and give young people the opportunity to voice their opinions and everything they have to say. Next slide, please. We worked in whatever we do, we work in this co-creation. This means that we have talked to a number of youth organizations already, and we continue doing so. We have drawn inspiration from everything that came from young people. We had a survey that we sent to young people. It was published on the youth portal, and the report could also be found there. We work with the youth stakeholders. We tell them to give us the ideas, what in their opinion young people are looking for and how the future would look like. And all this ends up in the design of the year and what we would like to achieve. Next slide, please. Now we come to different activities or different programs that have definitely been enriched thanks to the Year of Youth already. So as you can see, everything where you have the word new, this is now under the Year of Youth set up as an add-on to what existed. Parts were, of course, in preparation, like the Erasmus Plus app, but a lot is happening in this Erasmus scheme, and it has also been topped up in terms of the budgetary availabilities. Not to forget, the Erasmus is highly successful. This means in particular that it's always a bit of a struggle to get an Erasmus grant, but for all those who intend to apply in the future, fingers crossed. Next slide, please. Then we have Discover You. Discover You is this free travel pass to explore Europe for people 18 years of age. Last year we had in fall, in autumn, we had a double round where we had 70,000 tickets at stake. And I can tell you, the European Union servers were shaking. There was so much interest. This means in particular that young people, after this long period of being kind of locked away, Corona in, out, school, no school, online, they are eager to go out and to explore again. The last round was a massive, massive success. We had more than 300,000 applications for the 70,000 travel passes. This means in general, there's also a bit of a disappointment. Now we are preparing for the next round, not as big, but there will be 2 in 2022. One coming up in probably in April, and the second round then in autumn, and we will hand out again travel pass tickets to young people. So stay tuned in this respect, news to be published on the European Youth Portal in due time. Next slide, please. The Solidarity Corps, I leave it because my colleague Gosha will go into details here. Next slide, please. And I wanted to highlight also an idea and a take-up from all the European commissioners that go into policy dialogues, and I believe they're quite important. I talked about the survey that we had launched last year, and there are quite an impressive number of young people said they want to have a dialogue. They want to talk to MEPs, to commissioners, to politicians. We have transformed this initiative into this policy dialogue, means that every commissioner, except the president, they will arrange throughout the year a talk of about 1.5 to 2 hours with 10 young people selected from the different member countries and 2 representatives from the Youth Forum. The topic will be decided by the commissioner herself, and then it is meant to be really an in-depth discussion so that the number of messages that stem out of these kind of discussions can feed into any policy thinking that comes up. So as you can see on the slide, the next dialogues to come up is Mr. Timmermans. They will talk on sustainable consumption and production. I find this quite relevant. This topic of sustainability is highly important for young people. Then it is media freedom and pluralism, couldn't be more relevant than it is today. And then the Right to Repair initiative will follow on 17th May. More will come. This is only 4 dialogues. The first one had already happened. As you can see throughout the year, we will enter and we will always report on the youth portal about what is going on or what has been the result of these dialogues. Next slide, please. And now we come to a different set. Everything, you know, in our unit, we have collected over the past weeks initiatives that are linked very closely to the European Year of Youth. And you would be surprised how much there's going on. We have selected more than 100 initiatives that are relevant for young people. They are now on the European Youth Portal on the dedicated page that is linked to the European Year of Youth. We have grouped them. Have a look at them. It is amazing, everything that is kind of on track and is being updated throughout the year, and where you can see that young people are sort of in the core of the policy reflection and the policy implementation. Next slide, please. Now we come on how can you also contribute to the Year of Youth. And I really truly invite you to do so, as it is now the moment to put the focus, the flashlight on European activities or activities for young people in Europe. We have on the European Youth Portal created a page where everyone can upload an activity. It's very easy. You click on the button, add an activity. They are in pink. You can find it there. You're guided to a European page where you have to identify yourself. And once you have done this EU login, then you can upload an activity, and they are very broad. Conferences, discussions, expos, cultural activities. So basically, whatever comes to your mind should go on the portal so that you are visible, that you are part of the European Year of Youth. And at the end of the year, we have the proof that the young people's topic are relevant across Europe. Have a look at it. It is very easy to use and it will help. Next slide, please. We also invite you to use the visual identity of the European Year of Youth. It is a logo, this very colorful speech bubble, which should express dialogue, the talking, the speaking to young people. It is available on the European Year of Youth pages of the European Youth Portal. You can download them. They are free to use. You can choose the language. They are there in all the European languages. You can choose the color. You can play around the way you wish. You can see in my background, I'm in heaven. I use them on my background slide. If you have an activity, use it, and please use also the hashtags that are in use. This is European Year of Youth or EYY 2022. Like this, we can really underline the importance of young people and create this kind of movement that makes the year. Next slide, please. Yeah, here we have linked up or put together for you how you can get involved. Please be active. Do whatever you want to do at the national, at the regional level. And I believe when it comes in particular to cultural heritage events and the involvement of young people, it is worth to label it with the logo of the year, and in particular to upload the activities on the Youth Portal page so that they are visible and they gain visibility throughout the year. If you have particularly ideas, let us know if we can be of help. We have a team now in our unit who is there to support. You can always use I put it afterwards in the chat, the functional mailbox that we have installed, EYY2022@EC-Europa.eu. Send us a message. We are there to help you in your activities. And I think this was the last slide.
Yes,
I want to present. I would pass on the floor and the microphone to Gosha for the updates.
Thank you, Karin. Yes, if you don't mind, we'll move straight to Gosha, who will present the European Solidarity Corps. There is just one little question in the chat that I see about the age bracket that applies to youth. Is there one? Can you quickly just say?
Yeah, thanks a lot for this question. We are all young.
Yes.
As such, we don't really have an age bracket for young people. It is meant to be very open, but I believe it will be particularly relevant for, let's say, 18 to 25, 26. But as Gosha will explain, we have activities under the Solidarity Corps that go up to 35. There are others, so it is really flexible and open, and no one should feel excluded from the year.
Great. I hope this answers the question. So I leave the floor to Gosha now, and here's the European Solidarity Corps.
Yeah. Hello, thank you. I will be very brief about this because I think you will focus on the main issue of your program, but I would like to use this opportunity to present also Solidarity Corps program, and especially one action that is very adequate to your subject of your webinar. If you could move to the next slide. So what is this European Solidarity Corps program? If you haven't heard, it's one of the programs managed by DG EAC, DG Education and Culture. It's based on previously very popular European Voluntary Service. We now have Solidarity Corps since 2018. And as you see, for 7 years now, we have more than 1 billion euros for this program, and we aim to offer 2,700,000 opportunities for young people. This program is for young people from 18 to 30, in one action to 35 years old, and aims to foster solidarity in European society. And to do so by engaging young people and organizations, mainly in solidarity activities, but mainly through volunteering. So this is main objective of the program, to engage young people, but at the same time give them some opportunities to develop skills and so gain some valuable experience. So funding is provided in the form of grants to organizations through call for proposals. If we move to the next slide, main part of this program is individual volunteering, as I said, to 18 to 30, and helping to manage the challenges the projects will tackle, but at the same time to develop the skills. If we move to the next slide, we will see more details. So it allows individual volunteering is for 2 to 12 months. And we have also the possibility for volunteering teams for people who don't feel too ready yet to go to the big adventure and long adventure. So we also organize, we also give the possibility to organize volunteering teams. You see also geographical scope. It's in member states and fund countries associated to the program. And some actions, some possibilities also apply to countries, third countries not associated to the program. All the details can be found in a program guide for European Solidarity Corps. If you move to the next slide, why I'm here today? I'm here because we have a special action in the Corps, which is under Strand 1, under solidarity activities, volunteering teams in high priority areas. It's a bit different action than the others because it's managed centrally by Executive Agency of Education and Culture. The other actions are managed in the centralized level in the program countries through the national agencies. If we move, we can move to the next slide. The difference is that there are very large scale and high impact projects. These are also voluntary activities, and these are exactly what I said before, volunteering teams. But these are bigger projects. They can involve two organizations. If we move, can we move to the next one? But the difference is here, apart from addressing unmet societal challenges as in the whole program and reaching to young people, we mainly reaching here to people with fewer opportunities because they can go in the group. It's short activities, it's in the group, they can feel more secure. And but the activities are very interesting. The projects are can be very long. And we here tackle very specific priorities. And this year priority, every year this priorities changes. And this year we have two priorities: promoting healthy lifestyles and preserving cultural heritage. Can we move? And I would like to go directly to the next one. So to the next slide, yes. So here you can see main eligibility admissibility criteria. If you want to take part or if you want to promote this through the organizations, you still have time. These are the main principles of the projects. There has to be 3 eligible organizations from at least 2 different countries. And the main criterion is that the organization have to have the valid quality label. It's a sort of accreditation. If they want to get the project, they have to get it from, and they have to ask it from national agencies in the countries. So this is the main criterion to get part of it. The young people, they have to be registered in the European Solidarity Corps portal. It's very easy to register. They will enter their data, and then they can scroll for different activities, and organizations can also find them for their projects. If we move to the next slide. So you have the most important information here, that the deadline to apply this year is 6th of April. So if any organization would be interested to apply for this, this is a very important date. And you have to get all the information if you want through Executive Education and Culture Agency and the program guide of the European Solidarity Corps, where all the specificities are mentioned. Okay, here very briefly you can see what we found. The funding is through unit costs for volunteering support, organization support, and inclusion support. And the total available budget for 22 is 3 million euros. And the one project maximum EU grant can be up to 400,000 euros. Next slide, please. And this is the timeline for this year. So as I said, submission deadline 6th of April, evaluation until September, and these projects can start in autumn already. Next slide, please. These are the main useful links that you could find all the information, but if you just Google European Solidarity Corps portal, you will find all the information that you need. There was a question for the participation. There's all the list of the countries that can participate. It's not only EU. As an applicant, it can be any organization and the EU member states or third country associated to the program, which are Turkey, North Macedonia, and Liechtenstein for the moment. And but participating organization can be also from the third countries not associated to the program, and you have the full list in the program guides that you can find. So this is, I really promote this. You have still time to apply if you want to promote this action to the organization and want to deal with preservation of cultural heritage. This is a very good moment. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. There was a question indeed, but you already answered. I don't see any other at the moment. So if you can stay, Karin and Gosia, we have 2 Q&A sessions a bit later when we can come back to the 2 initiatives. But if participants have precise questions, you can also contact directly our speakers or the different programs using the email address on the slide, and you can find all information on the different portals. So thank you very much for these interesting initiatives. I would like now to quickly tease you about our case studies that we will hear from in a moment. Today, we will travel to 3 different cities throughout the webinar. The first one is Leeuwarden in the Netherlands, then Edinburgh in the UK, and Helsinki in Finland. 2 of these case studies are actually ongoing European-funded projects. The other one has finished in 2018 and received a Europa Nostra Heritage Awards that same year. 2 examples are working with other European cities, and 1 example was a national initiative that could be replicated in other contexts. And in total, these 3 examples cover 5 European countries. All of them are working with local schools and in partnerships with teachers, and all of them use cultural heritage as their bedrock. So the first stop will be in Leeuwarden. Leeuwarden is the capital of Friesland and was European Capital of Culture in 2018. And Leeuwarden is a partner in the Story Valley project, which is funded by the EU program Erasmus+. Story Valley uses visual, audio, and digital materials to help reinterpret stories of students by combining oral history, creative literacy techniques. Students participating in the project, they come together from different backgrounds and cultures, and they work together to practice their English, their national language as well, and to learn about each other's culture. So Leeuwarden works together with other European cities to exchange on their experience working with students. And these are the cities of Edinburgh, Ljubljana in Slovenia, and Nottingham. I wanted also to introduce our 2 speakers for this example. Rim Bleeker teaches art and design at Friesland College in Leeuwarden. Friesland College is a vocational education and training school and is the lead partner in the Erasmus project Story Valley. And Esther van der Werf works both for the municipality of Leeuwarden as an advisor to international affairs and also for Learning Hub Friesland. Esther supports the lead partner of the Story Valley project with the coordination and management, and does the same for the project Culture United, which will also be presented a bit later in the webinar. So I give the floor to, I think, Hester first.
Hi, Cecile.
With the Story Valley project. Hello.
Hi, thanks for introducing me. I will change my screen focus on content, so I won't see you, but I'll see my presentation. Yeah, next slide, please. Thanks for introducing us. Indeed, nice to meet everybody. My name is Hester, and I'm here with my colleague Rim Bleeker, who will take the floor after a few slides that I'm going to talk about. Just a moment. Indeed, Story Valley is about oral history. We use oral history as a driver for improving literacy skills, preserving cultural heritage, and enriching it with oral history and heritage of other cultures. So what does that mean? It means that it's an inclusive project for and by vocational education and training students and teachers. And it's done by local students and students with migrant backgrounds. And Story Valley lets them learn about each other's cultural heritage through storytelling. So they work together to turn their stories about their heritage into a creative expression of their own choice. So that could be film, it could be art, it could be drama, it could be anything that they feel comfortable and proud presenting. So during this process, they practice their language in a fun, non-formal way of learning. So they speak Dutch in our case, in our partner country, Dutch, but they also speak English. They write scripts, they write stories, they subtitle the movies that they make. So a very creative way of learning. And like Cecile already told you, it's indeed an Erasmus-funded project, and it includes 9 partners from 4 different countries: England, Scotland, Slovenia, and the Netherlands. And it's a 3-year project. Indeed, we're halfway now. However, we intend it to have a legacy. We want to give Story Valley a permanent place in the curriculum of the vocational education schools that are participating. About the budget, there's a budget of 400,000 euros for those 3 years to be divided amongst the 9 partners. So that is basically 1 day per partner to be spent on the Story Valley project. Next slide, please. So a couple of months ago, we finally had a live meeting with all the partners in Edinburgh, and we brought some students from Leeuwarden, from Friesland College, and our students participated together with the students from Edinburgh College, and they made a movie about Story Valley, and they came up with the idea themselves. They worked together, they made the subtitles, and they made the script. And yeah, Cecile, can you show us the movie?
Story Valley. I would describe Story Valley as
exploration and celebration of multilingualism and literature.
It's open, it's exciting, it's innovative, it's educational.
It goes through different subject areas.
Creative approach.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Thanks. Yeah, we can skip that part. It's indeed an Erasmus project, but I think during this summit, there will be a little bit more information about Erasmus and the possibilities. So the way we, oh, sorry, can we go a slide back? Yeah. The way we do it at Story Valley with all the partners, we act local and we learn and share global, which means that all the partner countries, they work together with 2 or 3 parties consisting of a school, a literacy organization, and a creative organization. They do their own Story Valley projects, and everything that they learn there, the best practices and the things that they learn, we use together to create learning materials for vocational education and training in Europe. So that brings me to how could our project Story Valley help you? Of course, it can help you content-wise because we are creating learning materials and best practices on how we make educational material to improve literacy, inclusion, and learn about cultural heritage. But I also think that this Erasmus project could be an example on how to use, so to speak, Erasmus funding, not only for education, but also to work on heritage and culture and cultural heritage. So if you would like to know more about that, I've mentioned the 2 websites below. There you can learn more about that. And to conclude my story, next slide, please. I have one very short clip about Story Valley, and then I'll give the floor to Rim. Yeah, next slide, please. Rim, I will be quiet now and give the floor to you. Rim, are you there?
Hello. Yes,
Oh, hi.
I'm there. Hello. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Rim, and Rim Bleeker, and I work at Friesland College. It's a regional vocational school at the Department of Creative Business. And why learn about literacy and cultural heritage this way? Well, we think that no matter where you go or where you grow up, culture is always with you and you take it with you. And at our school in Friesland, in the north of the Netherlands, we have about 10,000 students with many different cultural backgrounds. One of our main targets in our school is to make our students aware of being a global citizen and being open-minded to other values and norms and how other cultures can enrich your own culture and life. We think culture is actually based on stories, and our educational vision is practice-based education, so learning by doing, and we think this motivates our students the best. So if you take a look at the picture of the students in the PowerPoint, you see two students who are having fun. It's Jure and Jay who made these movies, and they have fun because in a project like this, you can give students responsibility and give them ownership. So, so far we experienced that is one of the most important things to keep our students motivated. If they are, they are sort of owning the project. They are really involved. You take them serious. So what we experienced so far is that it's important to keep everybody motivated, and if everybody's motivated, everybody will be in the flow, and the story will tell itself. So it's really important, we think, that there is a real client that they have to communicate with. So it's not a school assignment, but a real life experience. So as from the beginning, the students played an important part in this project by already making our corporate identity, like the logo you've seen. And that was really the beginning. And so far, we try to involve them all the time. And it's important that the client, so that was us, we pitch the project for the students, and students can participate because they want to and not because they have to. So they also have to write an application letter in which they mention their qualities. So they tell you what kind of qualities they have, and they are going to use to make the assignment, the project, successful. So if it doesn't work out, you have something to talk about. And it is important that they feel that the project is their project, to give them ownership in advance. So listen to them and include their ideas and let them make a plan together. So we plan now to visit Slovenia in March, and we already include students in this plan. So they plan and organize how to get there and what kind of activities they want to do in Slovenia. So it's not something I organize and I have the ideas. No, their ideas are included. So they feel responsible. And it's always very important to make sure that things might go wrong. So they might go wrong, and that can happen. And that is not going to be a problem, but that's the moment when you learn. And so it might go differently than you planned before. And then we come to the impact on students and teachers. Our students speak, and all the students involved, speak another language with each other and learn about each other's culture. And it's done in a fun and creative way. They play with language, not just in writing or reading, but through dancing, as you saw in the first film. and the other students were filming it, and again, making this a story of this project, or making other pieces of art. So existing stories inspire them and inspires them to make new stories in a new creative way. And during making these new stories, they learn about their own culture and how this can contribute and enrich their culture. So if you work with real, genuine clients, you always have to make sure that expectations are clear for the teachers, but also for the client involved. They must be aware all the time that they work with students who are learning and that they can make mistakes, because that is the best way to learn. And when you see students are having fun and don't really realize that they are learning, that's the best thing I think can happen to keep us teachers motivated as well. So the students you see on the right on the picture, they are going to join us again because they want to, and they are going to continue telling our story in their way. They have the freedom in how they want to film it, in how they want to present it, and how to edit, which music to use. And as from the beginning, they are part of the project and they feel responsible in that. And I think that's very valuable for the students. And that's what the project is about. So that's my part. Is there already now time for the questions, or is that later on? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, we'll take some questions later. Thank you very much, Rim.
Okay.
It was
Thank
really
you.
nice to have your perspective. There's no immediate question in the chat, so I think people are digesting all the information also, and maybe it will come later.
Okay.
But in any case, I think we can jump to the second case study, if you don't mind. So the next stop on our European journey is Edinburgh, and similar to the Story Valley project, the Culture United project is also funded by Erasmus+, where this time Edinburgh works in collaboration with Oulu in Finland and also Leeuwarden. And Culture United is slightly different because it uses cultural events and heritage festivals as a way to introduce different ways of teaching in primary schools. The activities proposed by the project appeals to the interest of the children and their natural enthusiasm, and using this energy and curiosity to engage them in learning, it also inspired them in a different way. So to present the project, I have here David Waddle from the Edinburgh City Council. David works as a Senior Culture and Events Officer for the Culture and Wellbeing Service at the City of Edinburgh's Council in Scotland, and is responsible for supporting the city's festivals and events, as well as the participation of the city in European cultural projects and networks, such as Eurocities and such as Culture United. So, David, when you want, please go ahead. I'll put the first slide here.
That's great. Thanks, Cecile. Yes, hi, I'm David Waddle. I work at the City Council in Edinburgh, coordinating the Culture United project, and going to talk to you about one of our cultural heritage projects that we have in action, Culture United. May I have the next slide, please? So, as Cecile said, Culture United is made up of 4 partners from Edinburgh, Leeuwarden in the Netherlands, Oulu in Finland, and Dundalk in Ireland. And it uses cultural heritage events and festivals as a way of delivering creative learning in the classroom. So all of you will have your own unique festivals and events in your city that celebrate the unique characteristics of your city and your culture, or historic moments or cultural figures and so on. And that's what we've used as a way of delivering creative learning in the classroom. There's a short video coming up now which will explain a little bit more about the project and let you see what we did in Edinburgh as well. Thanks. We have the next slide. So you saw some of the activities that we delivered as part of Edinburgh's participation in that project. We partner with Burns and Beyond, which is a relatively new festival in the city, funded and supported by the City Council. And it celebrates the life and works of Scotland's national poet, Robert Burns, which is celebrated every year on January the 25th. And we have dinners and gatherings and storytelling, poetry, live music, food and whiskey as well. So we wanted to use that festival to partner with 4 local schools, and we used the artists who were participating in the festival. So people that you were paying money and buying tickets to come and see at night, they were also working with each of the schools that were in there. We put a call out to all of the primary schools in Edinburgh, about 79 of them, and asked who would like to participate in this programme. And we had, from that selection, we chose 4 Edinburgh schools to work with. And then we paired up the schools that had applied with the artists who were appearing in the festival to deliver workshops in the classroom for us. So this program was artist-led, although the children and the pupils themselves were creating the content. The artists weren't turning up with, a pre-prepared song or a story or their own work that they wanted the children to perform. These were all created completely from scratch by the children and the pupils that were in there. And we had a variety of different workshops. We had music, spoken word, dance, poetry, and visual arts and crafts, and some creative writing workshops as well. So each school got 2 workshops, and they all got a dance, in fact 3, they got dance, a spoken word performance that they were doing, and then one of the other workshops, as I say, either music or visual art, and so on. At the end of this, all the schools came together, and we had what was called the Bairns Burns Supper. Bairns is Scots for children. It's probably, I think it's very similar to Northern European for children as well. And we held this in the Assembly Rooms in Edinburgh, which is a very large ballroom, a very, very grand building. And the children had their own Burns Supper there and performed to each other. Considering none of them had ever met before, it was amazing. They all jumped in, they participated, every single person took part in it. It was really, really fantastic. May I have the next slide, please? So this programme is also being rolled out in our partner cities in Leeuwarden, in Dundalk and in Oulu as well. They have their own festivals, De Tocht in Leeuwarden, the Seek Festival in Dundalk and the Enchanted Words Festival in Oulu are all working with their local schools to deliver similar projects that relate directly to their own unique cultural heritage that's in there. As part of this, we asked the pupils themselves what's been the impact of having these workshops and taking part in the Burns and Beyond and Culture United project. And fundamentally, we asked them how it made them feel as being part of it. So the pupils for themselves found new ways of being able to creatively express themselves through it. They found new confidence of being put into the situation where they were performing in front of people they didn't know and did incredibly well. And they formed new friendships out of many of this. So we still have ongoing phone calls and Teams meetings between one of the schools in Edinburgh and one of the schools in Oulu. They've been in contact a few times. And there's also been significant impact for the teachers that participated in it as well, in that they got a chance to learn how to deliver creative learning workshops and interdisciplinary learning within their own classrooms. Some of them were quite confident and had experience of delivering this before, but for some of them, this was the first time that they'd had a program similar to this. So it was really valuable for them, and also mentoring from the teachers as well to each other, showing and supporting each other and how this could be delivered. For the festival, there's also benefits in there for them. It strengthened the connection that the festival had with the city. As I say, it's a relatively new one. It's a unique festival for our city as well, and something that the City Council has been supporting and funding over the last few years. Increased their profile within the city and created new audiences by engaging with the school pupils who have parents and relatives who will now know more about the programme. And fundamentally, and we shouldn't be shy about saying it, it provided access to funding for them as well. which they wouldn't have previously had by delivering creative learning workshops. So if you have creative learning programs within your cities, why not consider using a festival or an event and the artists that are in there to help deliver it within the classroom? Also for the city, it helped us to support the creative and cultural sector that was in there by supporting the artists that were participating in it. Next slide, please. So we have 4 outputs as part of the project. The first is the teacher training kit, and transferability is a really core principle of this project. We want to be able to take what we're doing in Edinburgh and Oulu and Leeuwarden and Dundalk and make sure that if you're interested in doing it, you can pick it up and you have the tools and the means to do so in your city. So the teacher training kit provides all the lesson planning and the how-to guides for teachers to be able to deliver a similar program within their own classroom, how to get started, etc. We are creating regional education and culture unions as well within each of our 4 cities. And as the project transfers into other cities, we hope they will be created as well. So within each of the cities now, we have a network between the schools and the cultural sector and our festivals where we can continue the work of Burns and Beyond. As you saw for that one from 2020, we've been continuing to work with Edinburgh schools beyond the life of the programme as well. On the other side of it, we've created an event organisers toolkit, which allows the festivals to learn how to approach schools and how to work with them and how to deliver creative learning workshops within the classroom. And lastly, we have an online community and platform that's been developed where you can find all the resources for Culture United and apply them into your own city. May I have the next slide, please? So if you want to know more, our contact details are up there. You can find more on the Culture United website. There are various social media channels as well where you can find us. We are looking for other cities who would be keen to do this in their own city to roll it out, either by trying out the Teachers Toolkit or trying out the Event Organisers Toolkit as well. They're being developed at the minute and should be available fairly soon. So yes, if you have any questions, please just get in contact with us. Thank you.
Thanks, David. I don't see any questions now about the project in particular, and I see that Hester is also here to complement if there are questions about the Culture United project, because Leeuwarden is also involved, as you said. But yeah, there was a small question anyway for Leeuwarden before, but I would like to keep them close for the Q&A session a bit later. Because now I wanted to come back to something interesting about these 2 projects and the fact that they are funded by Erasmus+. So if there are any specific questions from the audience on this funding aspect, please raise your hand or type directly in the chat. But in the meantime, I had some questions for Hester and David, so I'll give some time for the audience to gather their thoughts and ask you first, because it would be interesting to know from your side, what is the added value of working on an Erasmus+ project? You already mentioned some of these aspects, but I wanted to know if is there something that you would not have been able to achieve otherwise without the funding from this project or the collaboration that it provided with other cities? Esther and David, if you want to answer this question.
Sure, I'll go first for Culture United. Fundamentally, we would not have been able to deliver the workshops in schools and the program that we put in there and all the opportunities that the young people got to participate in the festival and to learn from the artists that were taking part as well, without the funding from Erasmus Plus and the projects taking place. We would have had a core festival that took place in venues across the city at evenings, primarily attended by an adult audience, and the young people wouldn't have had an opportunity to be exposed to this or to learn from or experience the culture and the artists that were in there. So this is the whole project that we've delivered has been additional to the core of the festival and wouldn't have been possible without it.
And Esther, from your side?
Yeah, I totally agree with what David says, and it just enables us to to form real relationships, so to speak. The project takes 3 years, and during that 3 years, you see each other, well, digitally every month or every 2 months, and you meet each other several times, which really forms connections which otherwise wouldn't have been there. So except for the things that you promised to deliver during this Erasmus project, it's also a really important basis for next projects and enables you to start next projects. I mean, Culture United, we started with Edinburgh City Council, and then it was such a good cooperation that we've asked Edinburgh to join us at Story Valley again, and it's the same with Oulu. It just keeps getting bigger and enables you to grasp more opportunities.
But how did you know about similar needs or similar challenges in the other cities? When did it start, this collaboration that you had with
that's a
Oulu
good
and
question,
Ljubljana?
Cecile. And you know the answer, because obviously we met during Eurocities, and yeah, that's where it all started. You network and you talk about local urgencies, about projects, mutual projects. And to be honest, if you get along well, also after hours, during dinner, during drinks in the bar, and you trust each other, that's where the connections start.
There's a lot of drinks involved in this webinar already. The whiskey before.
I think yeah, we're on a drought because of COVID. We really need some time for that.
Yeah, we missed the connection with the other members of the network.
And I think part of it is also that these issues aren't unique to the cities that are participating in it. All the cities have similar issues that are around there. On the Story Valley side, around literacy, in the vet and further education schools, and increasing access to culture for young people. These are all aspirations and ambitions that all of us have as cities. So actually finding partners in there is, or trying to make the project fit to a partner isn't a problem at all. It's really easy.
Okay, but maybe I have one question more on the practical side of things, because this is a European funding programs, and we know that sometimes these programs can be a bit scary for city or other type of organization. So from your side, how did you come up with the idea of using this program, and how did the project building work? Was it kind of challenging or fun? Did you get help from other, I don't know, consultants, or did you write until the last minute?
Yeah, I think I'll answer that. Well, I work for the municipality of Leeuwarden, but I also work for Learning Hub Friesland, and we are an organization dedicated to help education in our region grasp these kind of opportunities. So we write Erasmus proposals. That's our job, and we support colleges like Friesland College in leading the projects, in doing the administration, in doing the stuff that is, well, not fun, so to speak, but very necessary as well. So yeah, we are an organization to help with that. So we do it for a living, so to speak, and we have a lot of experience with it, and we're here to help education with that.
Yeah, I would say it was invaluable having an organization like Learning Hub Friesland who'd had a lot of experience in writing these projects and the proposals over the years as well. And it's been really helpful trying to, especially for the first Erasmus project that I'd been involved in, that they took some of that kind of scary application process away from all of us. And you know, writing applications they can be quite cumbersome, and there's a lot of information that has to go in there, and the reporting and learning some of the language of Europe and funding applications can seem a little intimidating at first. So if anybody has a European funding partnership organization or somebody who has experience of doing this, and certainly for a first project, and being able to tap into that experience where people have been through it and know that it is a lot of hard work, but it's not as scary as it first looks, and that's really, really helpful.
Yes, don't be afraid of using EU funding, because it can create really nice initiatives. Maybe one last question, the famous COVID question. I think one of the projects started during COVID or just before. How did you manage to adapt? Was it fine working online with the students or the children?
Shall I go first, David? Or
yeah, because our Culture United started before COVID, and Story Valley started firmly in the middle of it. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, well, it's not easy. I mean, let's be honest, it was quite a challenge to start a project with partners who we never really met. You all know that these projects are, yeah, we can do these projects because you meet each other, you look each other in the eye, and you know you can trust each other, and then you feel responsible. So it was difficult. However, yeah, we tried to really make the team meetings interactive. We sent little personal notes and personal gifts to the partners, and we really tried to make it work. And fortunately, after a year, we were able to meet. So for Story Valley, I think we managed quite okay, but for Culture United, and David may be able to tell you more about that. Culture United is about events and schools. So yeah, that's a bit harder.
More challenging.
Yeah, the two core elements of that were restricted and shut down, and especially the travel in between the partner cities as well was impossible. So I think Culture United maybe found it slightly harder because we'd started the project and we got Burns and Beyond in at the end of January 2020. Lost track of the years now. Just before the pandemic hit, and then effectively everything had to kind of pause and shut down. So all the plans that we had made for the other events and for visiting partners and for the partners working with their festivals and schools as well, all had to be put on hold and tried to figure out how can we continue or keep the impetus, momentum going for this project so that it doesn't just sit and gather dust for 2 years while we get through the pandemic and not knowing where the end point was going to be as well. Whereas I think with Story Valley, we started from that perspective of things can only get better because we're starting from us. Nobody had ever met each other, and we had to form those relationships quite quickly, working with the other cities. To get them up and running, and then knowing at some point we will come out the other end of this and be able to meet. But yeah, having that first meeting in Edinburgh where we'd formed, quite close relationships with our partners in Story Valley was very weird. Finally seeing everybody in the flesh.
Yeah, it's especially difficult working on European projects where the European aspect of it is kind of frozen.
Just one more thing, Cecile, and then I'll be quiet. But yeah, I was thinking for Story Valley, the students from Edinburgh College, Leeuwarden College, and Ljubljana College, they actually worked together online, and they did so well. They created the website, they created the style guide. So I think that in terms of resilience, the students were far more resilient and able to cope with this whole situation online than we as partners were. So yeah.
It's the advantage of working with a generation that is maybe more used to all these online tools.
Definitely.
It's interesting. Thank you very much for this little aparté on the Erasmus+. I don't see any specific question on this side aspect in the chat. I just see a comment that you have fans of both the projects, so that's really nice. But so if there's no other questions there, I would like to maybe jump to our next case study, which is in Helsinki, and discuss the last example of today. First, I wanted to introduce the case study by watching a short video that Hannah sent me. So it's in Finnish, but it will give you a taste of what we will be discussing just after. Here you go. So the video introduced the Culture Leap project. This is a project that lasted from 2015 to 2018, and it aimed to increase the amount of cultural education plans in Finland. Hanna will probably explain better than me, but cultural education plans are a public program for schools that ensures that all children and young people get the chance to experience their cultural heritage. And the project Culture Leap won the Grand Prix of the European Heritage Awards, Europa Nostra Awards in 2018, together with children's cultural centers. And Hanna, who is here, is Executive Director at the Association of Cultural Heritage Education in Finland. She will tell us more about her insights and experience from this project. Hanna is also a member of the European Heritage Awards and Europa Nostra Awards jury in the category Education and Learning, and she's a member of the board of Europa Nostra Finland. So she covers cultural sustainability, education and learning, youth engagement, and policymaking, and knows everything about Culture Leap. So Hanna, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Cecile, for the nice introduction. Actually, I would like to add there also that I was the project manager for the European Year of Cultural Heritage in 2018, which actually kind of, I see this as a legacy of that year, which was kind of a splendid year for European cultural heritage. So thank you for a nice invitation. It's great to be here today. Thank you for the previous presentations. We also have an Erasmus Plus project at the moment. So I was very happy to hear about the experiences from the other, like, so part of the Erasmus Plus family feels very warming. It was also, I think it's good that we have European Year of Youth this year. I think, unfortunately, the youth of today are maybe not facing so bright future that we thought that we would be building them. So in addition to climate crisis, I think the link of cultural heritage and democracy needs to be emphasized even more. And also, I'm very sorry about that the video was in Finnish. I hope that you understand maybe 1, 2, 3, some numbers, which actually meant that the cultural education plan is, in that case, in Seinäjoki city, was designed so that in different classes you do different things. So there were museums, there were libraries, there were festivals, there were theaters, there were opera. So depending on which class you are, you get to know different type of art and cultural heritage. So that was basically about the video. And in the end, I also have to say that happy Kalevala Day and happy Day of the Finnish culture that we are celebrating today. So warm greetings from that side too. But so maybe we can go on with the slides. I'm not now seeing the chat, but then I would love to answer your questions in the end. So basically, okay, I'm sitting in Helsinki at the moment, but the project was definitely a national project. So this is nothing. It is not only a project in Helsinki, but it also had a very regional kind of orientation. So it stemmed from the work of the children's centers that are 35 in Finland. So actually, it's a very peculiar, very interesting, very important structure that we have in Finland, because the children cultural centers have been doing a lot of children's cultural work like for many years, and it started from their work, and it started from the policy making in the Ministry of Culture that wanted to draft what is the future of the children's culture. So then we paired with the Children's Culture Center, and then we had this cultural heritage. They had more maybe art forms, but also cultural heritage, and that's how we started the plan. But the idea of the project and the cultural education plans that it's national. So all the kids in this case in Finland have to be able to get cultural heritage education during their school day. But first of all, you know, this is already tips for you when you start this kind of work, when you want to do the planning. Start with the relevant questions. So we started also to ask, do children already have an equal access to culture? What is their situation, like all the kids in your country? What is the minimum that children should experience and learn about cultural heritage? What is, okay, we can start from the minimum. Of course, we can go further on, but what is the minimum that everybody needs to know? I think it's a very good question. And what they will learn when the plan is effective and is going on, what are they actually learning? What do they get from it? Then there is other questions that do the schools know, do the daycare centers know where the culture is happening? Where are the professionals? Where are the artists? When are the shows? And who they can contact? And then, of course, who are the key actors? Who does the planning? And then who pays? Okay, I don't have these answers for you already made, but start with these answers. You can go next slide, please. So what is the cultural education plan about? I told you that it was a national plan. So national means that it's all over, but it's made in the region. So it's a municipal level plan and enables the implementation of arts and cultural heritage education in the municipality or in a bigger area. Of course, you're allowed to do collaboration across the borders of the municipalities. And the Cultural Leap project was about this. So it actually succeeded in doubling the amounts of plans in Finland and also making those kind of plans that were like stuck in the shelves and, you know, this is only a paper, make them alive, you know, real happening, like real plans that are not only plans, but they are also effective. So yeah, as Cecil told, we won the Grand Prix in 2018. What did we do during the project? We had local pilots that were projects that they're designed and executed by the Children's Cultural Centers that was very much based on the local needs. We had a workshop tour in local level in different places of 15, if I remember correct, for education and culture sectors. So we invited culture sector and education sector to the same table to discuss about what is this plan and how could it be made. To recognize the relevant actors in that region, recognize significant interesting cultural heritage in that region and start the planning process. And then we designed a web tool for the local actors for co-creating that plan together with these different sectors. And this plan is can be found, we just renewed it and it can be found in English as well. And then there were a lot of local variations about this plan. So for example, this Seinäjoki plan that you saw in the video, that was more of a cultural trail, I guess, a cultural path. So that means that every class or every first, third, fifth, sixth, it depends on the variation. They have a different like a program for that age group. Then there is other types of implementing. They can be an annual theme, for example, that changes in every year and then is adapted to the school year. Or then it can be like more of a calendar. This goes, for example, in Helsinki, which is a big city and there's a lot of culture offerings. So it's more like a calendar which helps the teacher to pick the right kind of, or pick those that she or he wants to introduce his or her pupils to. So there are different variations to the plan. Okay, next slide, please. So, and why? Okay, the point was that access to culture is not equal. This is the situation in Finland. A lot of researches prove that. I think this is the situation in other European countries as well. So you cannot leave the cultural education to the parents. You cannot leave it to the informal sector, only to the hobbies. It has to be part of the formal education because that's the way it can be equal. It can be systematic, structured, and then it can be also quality because then you're developing it all the time. It's fostering cultural skills and cultural rights of kids. There are a lot of research about this. I didn't collect the research links, but I can provide you some later on. For example, for the children, identity building, self-expression, communication skills. And there are also research that tell that it improves the motivation for children in the school, also, and it also affects the studying in general, also the studying of other subjects. Creative expression, experiencing cultural diversity, equal opportunity to experience and also to make your own art and cultural heritage. Be creative. Okay, next slide, please. For schools and teachers, definitely, this is not something that only the active teacher who is very keen to cultural heritage and is kind of taking the whole burden. So this is not the way it should be. So it should be like something that has to be done, and it's a shared responsibility, and there's support for the teacher and support for the tools. There's new ways of learning, new learning environments that are changing all the time and evolving all the time. There's networks, multi-professional cooperation with the cultural sectors. For a cultural professional and artists, there's new audiences, new visitors, even job opportunities. For the municipality, definitely fostering the creative potential and attractiveness of the area, recognizing and appraising the local characteristics. I just heard that actually, creativity is not a characteristic of an individual, it's a characteristic of a community. So, in order to be creative as an individual, I think you have had creative communities that is surrounding you. So next one, please. So how? There's a strong connection with the curricula process. So this is one tip for you also. How is the curricula in your country made? And in Finland, there is this national core curriculum that is changed in every about 10 years. And then there is a local curricula, and that is done by the municipality. And now the cultural education plan, also this was also the result of our project. It's written in the national core curriculum as an optional plan that can be drafted at the local level. So it's not that it has to be done, but it's quite strong statement that is written there in the national core curriculum. So definitely multi-professional cooperation. You have to involve education and culture sectors both from the beginning. And then involve the children and youth. I have to say that this is something that also challenges us and challenges the cultural education plan making in Finland. We didn't involve so much children and youth when we did the project. And this is something I think needs to be improved in the future. But if you start now, think about how you do that. Make it co-creative also with the kids. And then financing, who does the financing? For example, in Finland, there is this, that the school or the municipality pays for, like, you go to the swimming hall every year, like 2 times or something like that. But there's no such a financing for going to cultural events. Why? So there is money in the budget. How is it used? It's also about lobbying and policy making and policy advocacy. So check the finances, be aware of the numbers, of the figures. I was also trying to now collect you the right, figures, but actually I didn't find the exact. But for example, in Tampere, this was how much they spent for the whole project during 1 year. And there's all the children, 18,500 that are involved. So I guess it's just 22 euros per kid per year in Tampere, for example. Then there are municipalities that are maybe financing 2 euros per kid. So it depends, it varies. So next slide, please, Ceci. So planning process. Start about those relevant questions, but start also that what is already being done in a municipality. So if something works, there's no need to kind of fix the bike. So what is there already and how it is going? Is it like, if everything is fine, then, there's no need for this kind of plan. But if there is something missing, if all the kids aren't involved, if there's not the variety of cultural heritage presented, there's something maybe should be done. And then also, we had this art, culture, and cultural heritage is this plan. So all variety was in the same planning process. Then this is the picture from the web tool, and then there is a link to that web tool in English, so you can go and check it out and start the planning process by using this tool. We had this kind of the first idea was to give to support the big cities, the medium-sized cities and the small cities in the process. So that's why we also drafted a little bit different questions for each of them. Next one, please. So, a couple of challenges. Plans in Finland now, 2020, 44% of the municipalities have the plan. Okay, already almost half, which is good. 20% are in the process of planning, and 23 are saying that we don't have it. They might also say that, okay, we don't need it because we can take care of this without the plan. Okay, fine. But then also, I think we are also kind of worried about these. We don't have it because they're usually the small cities, small towns that they don't have the resources, they don't have the time. And if you might think that, okay, the half of the municipality is covered. I think most of the Finnish kids are covered, but that's not enough. We have to have them all. So I think this kind of a challenge for us is to kind of direct the services to those who don't have it yet, because they need the most support for that as well. One question, one has also that I have encountered. Okay, we don't have any cultural heritage. We're not living in an interesting neighborhood. Or there's nothing. So that's something that, okay, this is not true. So this is also about how people understand what is cultural heritage. Can they kind of grasp something that is close to them, the environment, the nature, the festivities, the family tradition? They are all cultural heritage, and they are exactly that we should be including in these plans. So content also of the plans and point of the view of the cultural heritage. So there might be some plans that are like mainly arts and lacking cultural heritage. So this is a challenge. Next one, please. We're almost in the end. Thank you for endurance. So this is also for the transferability. I also already told you some of them before. Adopt the children's point of view. So look this from their point of view. Are they getting the cultural heritage education that they deserve? That is their cultural rights. Education and culture cooperation is the vital. It's the key. Big layer is the help desk. Now the research that was done in 2020 say that half of the municipalities need help in the process. So they cannot kind of manage themselves. And I don't think that's the idea as well. I think the network is a good idea. Collaboration is good idea. So who is kind of the responsible, who is organizing this? Collect the plans and publish them openly. Now in Finland, they can be found from the Children's Cultural Center's webpage, because that really helps the other municipalities to plan if they see other examples. So be open about it. Think about the common criteria. This is one thing that has aroused now also in this 2020 research. That what should be there? What is the minimum kind of standard, minimum quality? That is something that we also don't have ready at the moment. Then maybe offer something ready-made content. So that was also one wish that we had from the Finnish municipalities. And in Finland, for example, I don't know, there's this Taidetestajat, which is called Art Testers, and which is a national project that invites all the 8th graders. 8th graders are 14, 15 years old youngsters, to be able to visit one theater, opera, or another like a show in there when they are in 8th grade. And this is founded by the ministry and by a private foundation. So that means all the 8th graders in Finland. So this kind of also the highlight of the cultural education plan called Art Testers. Very interesting to look for that as well. So, and also that maybe you can change. Okay, yes, that's what I thought. I have used my time. I would like to thank you. That's a picture from Berlin that we were celebrating our Europa Nostra award. We were very happy about it. And there's in the left, there's Ira, who is in senior advisor and also the project manager for the Cultural Leap, and Katri Tenets, who is in Oulu at the moment. I think you know her because Oulu is also the actual cultural capital of 2026, and that's me as well. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. And any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thanks a lot, Hanna. Yeah, it's time for questions. I don't see any at the moment in the chat, but maybe participants can type them. I'm sorry we are running a bit late, but bear with me because I think this part might be the more interesting one as well, with some questions. And I have 1 or 2 questions for our speakers that might give some time for the audience to gather their thoughts as well. I wanted to ask David, Hester, or you, Hannah, about the teachers, or maybe I don't know if Rem is still with us as well. Was it hard to get the teachers on board? How can you convince them that cultural education should be added to sometimes already strict or packed curricula? Is it something that you had to deal with in your different projects?
Well, maybe I start also. I think, well, for, how do I say? I think there's some different viewpoints of how to approach schools, and we think that the teachers are the key agents, and we work a lot with the teachers because they are the ones who kind of are the key agents. And but exactly, for example, cultural education plan. Well, that's not, that's the teachers basically are not the only group that are involved, because it's the municipality. So it's kind of also to support the work of the teacher. This is something that should be kind of integrated in the yearly planning process of the school. And at least in Finland, mostly the project what is sometimes lacking is kind of that the cultural projects don't take into consideration the school year and the teachers, timetables. So this is exactly the cultural education plan has to be like strictly for the school, like kind of like taking care of the timetable, and because of that, it's supporting the work of the teacher. That's how I see it from our point of, and this project point of view. So it's not hard to get the teachers involved if you are doing it in collaboration with them, and they're like kind of their workload and the school timetable.
Okay, thanks, Anna. Any other reactions?
I can say something.
Sure.
At Friesland College, I work at the creative business department. So actually all the teachers who work there, they are always eager to go to anything that has to do with cultural heritage. And so they have a personal motivation and passion, and that's what they want to share with the students, and this way try to well save our culture and also get them inspired as well. So that's the easy part for us because we are working in that area. But so it's but if you have the international part, it's we don't have a curriculum, so we always try to act on what's now on the calendar cultural wise, and how can we jump into that with projects or whatever. So because we like it, it's not that difficult.
David, you wanted to intervene as well?
Yeah, from our side, it's my colleague Lorna unfortunately can't be with us today, but Lorna's role within the City Council is really to act as that contact point with all the schools from within the on creative learning. So we have a person in role who was an ex-head teacher herself, who understands the role, the pressures that teachers are under, and how education works as well, who can communicate to them all. And it was really Lorna that managed to set up a lot of this. And we did it with by creating an application form that was sent out to all of the teachers, asking for them if they wanted to participate in this. And it was an opportunity around working with a festival and having some creative learning workshops and working with teachers and so on. But the really valuable part out of it was that the form had to be signed by the head teacher as part of it. So there was the authorization from the school at a high level that the teacher was being freed up to participate in the program, and they knew that they had the support to carry on through the project.
Okay, having contact points, I think, is an important aspect of all this. Hester, do you have a comment on this as well, or?
Just a small one, that obviously during the pandemic, it has been difficult because the time that the teachers had to be able to actually teach the children in school, they really needed to focus on the basic things and catching up. So that was a bit of a struggle. But obviously these are challenging times. So I can imagine that is differently during normal times.
Yeah, I think the pandemic was a moment where we had all a lot to cope with, so maybe adding this on top was maybe more difficult. There was a question for you, Hannah, but I guess you've seen it, about example of a plan.
Yeah, I saw it. I think that they're only in Finnish, but I still can, I can look.
Sharing the website. Okay.
Yeah. And I definitely see that there's need to translate our material in English.
Yes. Always a problem. Still
actually,
a problem.
I think with Culture United, we are working with Oulu, and one of our outputs is a Culture Union education toolkit. And I think that what they are making is based on what we see here.
Mm-hmm.
So we might be able to translate that soon.
More connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I think there's might be connections. Maybe you even know Katri Tenets from Oulu. I don't know if you were working.
Katri is the partner. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Because Katri was in the picture also. Cool. Because she, I know her, and she's has been very involved in the cultural education plans. So definitely, I think there will be connection. That's great.
Yeah, small world.
Yes, it's really nice.
Yeah, and there's now also a new project, which I actually maybe mentioned. There's a new project going on for the cultural education plan, so it's active again. And also in the policy process, it has somehow for some reasons the politicians in Finland doesn't know yet about cultural education plans enough. So we have an election year next year. So this is definitely one of our main policy goals for those elections. So they are rising again. So I also see the European potential here, because, for example, in all our European projects, we always have this kind of curricula check, because we try to kind of see that could this be something that is really like, there's a structure. So this is about the structure, that we have to have the structure, and then we have to have the content for cultural heritage education. Then they have to be kind of united in order to secure that all the kids are like having this, enough of it. How do you say? Great. We'll talk about the Oulu case maybe later on.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see that there are connections between you, and also that if other participants want to start something similar, well, they're really a team of experts to answer all their questions. There is one question for the Story Valley team from Marcia in the chat about the relationship between new types of media and cultural heritage, and how this relationship impacts the project. I don't know if Hester, Rim, you have some comments here.
Rim, you told me that you have to leave shortly, so maybe you can. Shall I do it, or can you start? What would you like?
I was just typing when I read this that I have to leave.
Oh, sorry.
But the new media, we also have a new course that is the content creator. So students, and now my battery of my computer is also running. But we are trying to get those students also more involved, because actually you saw the picture of the two students, Jay and Jurre, and they are doing the film specialist course, but it's specifically for content creation. It is a very interesting project, because at Instagram or all different Snapchat, they have new techniques of telling stories. It is more, how do you say it, of more short-term focused, not on the long term. But it's a really interesting question that we could try to make a project of or something. Yeah. Okay, now I have to leave. I'm so sorry. But
Thank you,
it's
Rim,
really
very much for your
inspirational. Yeah,
thank you for your testimonies, and good luck with the rest of the project.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, maybe I can finish the answer, because in what we do right now is we take students to the museum. Now, first, all the students get a storytelling workshop from Arjan, working at the Storytelling Center in Amsterdam, who we work together with. So, and then we go to the Frisian Museum to learn about heritage from a professional in the museum, telling about these objects and the story behind it. And then we ask students to pick one of the objects that they are most inspired about, that they feel most connected to, and then make their own story based on the object that they see. And then they can translate that story into like a film or a book or a play or even drama or theater. So that way we have a couple of steps, which means that the cultural heritage gets more personal in a way, so to speak. They can relate to that and they can try translate it into new media. So I'm not sure if I answered the question with that, but that's the way that we work now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think between yours and Rim's comments, I think we covered the topic. I'm sorry, but I think I'll have to end the discussion now because we are already running quite late. But it's really interesting. And before we all go, I still wanted to give maybe some words of conclusions or things that I picked up from the discussion today. The first thing I think is that activities organized with schools fit pretty well into the broader missions of the different culture and cultural heritage organizations. So we should not be afraid to approach them. And I think working with cities facilitates the organization of activities and enable the development of partnerships with schools. Like when you have a contact point, like David was saying, it's easier, let's say. But indeed, the national curriculum is an important aspect to be taken into account. Depending on where you are in Europe, it can influence what you can do. On the side of schools, I guess they have to be prepared in a way to enter the world of cultural heritage and its institutions. And the municipalities can have this role of facilitating the relationship to develop fitting cultural education offers that are connected to the curriculum or connected to broader goals for education. But in addition, I would say cultural institutions also have to be informed about what is already existing in terms of initiatives and the different requirements for good cultural heritage education offers. So we have seen that through different types of projects, be it national projects or European funded projects, municipalities are creating a range of information and digital tools as well to help secure this need for information from both sides. So it's pretty encouraging. I would stop here, except if there is one last word from the speakers. Otherwise, I see them nodding no. So, okay. Thank you all very, very much for attending this first Cultural Heritage in Action Sharing Stories webinar that today was hosted by Eurocities and Europa Nostra. Thank you, Lorena, for moderating the chat. I hope you enjoyed the webinar and you got inspired by the various initiatives that we had presented today. Do not hesitate to reach out if you need additional information, materials, or contacts. And I see that the speakers have shared their contacts in the chat as well. So reach out to them if you have precise question. The recording of the webinar will be made available also on our website in the next days. So do not hesitate to share it with your colleagues if you know that somebody might be interested. We will also produce, as part of Cultural Heritage in Action, 4 more episodes of the Sharing Stories webinar, and the next one is planned end of March, and will focus on adaptive reuse of industrial buildings with a history. So I invite you to check out our website or subscribe to the newsletter to be kept informed about this next webinar and also the forthcoming activities. And especially linked to this topic, we will open soon a call for participants for a peer learning visit in Leeds in the UK on digital engagement, working with schools and curriculum, and also recovery from the pandemic. So pretty linked to today's webinar. This was an appetizer, let's say. The visit will take place end of May, and we will especially discuss the Leeds museums and galleries services, plus some other interesting local case studies. So, for instance, if you dreamed of creating your own podcast around treasures kept in the museum's collection, you should join the visit. More information about it will be available on the website. And if you have a question, you can, of course, contact us at this email address that you see on the slide. And that's it for me. I'll close now, and I hope everybody is fine and happy with this session. Sorry for the delay. So thanks a lot for staying with us, and hope to see you soon in another context. Bye, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Cecile. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.